of Gaza and the people of the West Bank. Thank you to Help the World Oxford and the Muslim youth who've helped to organise it. Not for the first time, it's young people taking an initiative that has resulted in this magnificent demonstration. Yesterday in London we had, I think, 150,000 people. And there were rallies all over the country, in Cardiff, in Leeds, in Scotland, and indeed all over the world. And I was sent a picture by friends today from Bologna in Italy, which had a magnificent march of tens of thousands of people. The world Oxford has a great tradition of peace and of anti-war movements. I'm standing in front of the cenotaph of Oxford, commemorating those that have died in 2 world wars. Ask anyone who is someone who's lost a close family member in any war or conflict. The hurt goes on for the rest of your life. And on the way here, I read the Al Jazeera report, of 2 reports in fact. One about the destruction of the building that housed their studios and other buildings in Gaza in the last 3 days. On visits to Gaza, I've been in those buildings. They house human rights organizations, they house NGOs, they house small businesses, they house media outlets such as Al Jazeera and the Press Association. Those were destroyed, and the people inside were given, I understand, less than half an hour's warning that their building was about to be destroyed. It's and it is utterly disgraceful what has happened there. Somebody's just whispered in my ear that it was a 10-minute warning, and I'm sure the information I've just been given is correct. Having seen those buildings and met people inside them, including the Gaza Mental Health Campaign, I can just appreciate the hurt they're going through. And then today's report that a further 33 people have been killed by bombing in the residential district surrounding Gaza City. And all the killings that are going on the West Bank as well. It is a death toll that grows by the hour and by the day. It is a first world Air Force and Navy that is shelling people that by and large are completely defenseless. And my good friend Mustafa Barghouti, with whom I had a very long discussion last night on Double Down News, pointed out that the behaviour of the Israeli army towards the people of Gaza is no different towards the people of the West Bank, even though in the West Bank there are no rockets, there are peaceful, non-violent acts of protest. And so we have demands to make that would be universally recognised by peace-loving human rights people all around the world. And I have to say that also includes some peace-loving human rights campaigners in Israel as well, who are opposed to the bombing of Gaza. And so I've got a very big question to our Prime Minister and our government. What exactly is the nature of Britain's military cooperation with Israel? What exactly does this exchange of intelligence information actually mean? And of the weaponry that we have supplied to Israel in the past, is that now being used to kill children in Gaza and the West Bank? Here today is stop all arms supplies to Israel. And the fundamental issue issue, as all of the other speakers have recognised, is actually the question of the occupation of the West Bank and the siege of Gaza. I've visited the West Bank on many occasions, and the daily humiliation that people are put through just going about their normal lives. Imagine, between here and the river in Oxford, you had a couple of checkpoints before you could go any further. You went out to Cowley, you had three or four more checkpoints. You went out to the A40 and some more there. Translate that into being a building worker trying to get from the West Bank into Israel to do your work, and you're stopped and delayed. You may not even get through. You may be held for hours. You cannot go about your normal life. None of us would accept that. And none of us would accept that our family members had to go through that. The daily humiliation of life under occupation. Add to that Gaza as the most educated and almost the most impoverished place in the world. Per capita income in Gaza is around $600–700 a year. Yet, 2/3 of the population have university degrees. There are more university degrees per head of the population in Gaza than almost anywhere else in the world, including Oxford. And so, just think about that. And when your whole life is relying on medical support through the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, to your school being provided by them, all of that only through the generosity of UNRWA and the UN. I was in a school in Jordan 2 years ago, and I met the school council, wonderful young people. I was with them for 2 hours, taking question and discussion. And at the end of it, the head teacher looked unbelievably distressed. And we went to his office and I said, "Excuse me, I'm really worried for you, what's the matter?" He said, "We've just heard that Donald Trump has cut the funding, and the danger is that I will have to close the entire school in a couple of weeks' time." Even though the capitation payments for the children in his school was way below anything we'd have in this country. That is life under occupation. So let us make it clear. Our demands are, of course, to stop the bombing now, but end the occupation of the West Bank. I say end the occupation of the West Bank. Donald Trump wanted to annex most of the West Bank, and whilst his plan has apparently been put on hold, it hasn't completely gone away. There are, as we speak, over 500,000 settlers in the West Bank. Huge areas of the West Bank, best bits of agricultural land, water supply have been taken by settlers. Walls have been built across people's farmland, so it's impossible to carry on normal farming activities. And so it's not just end the settlement policy, it's end the settlements so that the Palestinian people can enjoy their country and their land. The last point I make is this, that as other speakers have pointed out, this is the anniversary of the Nakba, when the State of Israel was established and the Palestinian people were moved. And that meant many became refugees, many in Gaza, but in other countries as well, in Jordan, in Syria, in Lebanon, all over the region. And I have fond but desperately sad memories of meeting elderly Palestinians in the refugee camps at Sabra and Shatila. I remember meeting an old man, must have been in his 80s. His whole life had been in a refugee camp, and he longed to be able to leave it and live in peace with his family. And so it is about the rights of refugees as well. Now I say this, the events of this week, in real time, the bombing that's gone on, the horrors that have gone on, have shocked so many people around the world. I hope It motivates the political leaders around the world to halt the arms supplies, to deal with Israel economically and diplomatically, and say we will, as a country, as I promised in our manifesto in 2019, unconditionally recognise the state of Palestine. It has to be, the message here from Oxford today is stop the bombing, save the lives, recognise Palestine and stand with the Palestinian people. And we are united in that. We're united in that across all faiths and none, and across a wide range of political opinion. This is a matter of the moment of unity of all of peoples, be they Muslim, Jewish, Christian, Hindu or anything else, to say we stand with the Palestinian people and their right to Can I say to you all, to finish with this, let's chant the slogan that's being chanted all over the world this weekend and in the days ahead, and I'm sure in the weeks and months ahead. Let's say it. Free, free, Palestine!